Continuation of the construct. Here on Earth, we build our personality, lifetime after lifetime, based on our upbringing and what we learn in society and outside of society. Experiences accumulated to form our personality. This personality then separates from the physical body at death, but continues to live in a new body in a new incarnation over and over. The experiences from one lifetime passes over to the next, although the soul does not remember because of amnesia implants placed in the physical body and in the astral body by the alien invaders. All these experiences across the lines of time are stored in our fire as memories, and so are the experiences of the genetic line, which is the RNA-DNA timeline of the body we possess in any given lifetime. Because of amnesia, this can become very confusing to the person. Often events from previous lives of the soul and previous lives in the genetic line overlap, and unwittingly, the individual may experience unexplained pain, trauma, or even epiphanies that originate from previous lives. All this forms the personality of the particular soul splinter that we consider being us in this lifetime. The real you is all of this, but it is so much more. Take your current personality and add infinite opportunities to that, and you'll have the real infinite you that will operate in the real infinite universe. Your entire current personality remains as a series of experiences, all in a simultaneous packet. It may take some processing and inner meditation to really grasp this concept and to see whether it applies to you. It is important to realize that what you call your consciousness is not you either. It's the energy signature your soul is working with through her soul, created by experiences, the fire composite that you consider being you, but is not you. The spirit over soul is the unit that is really you. The soul fire is your vehicle, which you are using in the universe after having stepped down its vibratory rate and became energy, so you can create in a construct called the universe. Therefore, we could call the original universe a hologram too, although it is a hologram of which we usually are aware and can freely create in, as opposed to a hologram in which we are trapped. It was created with the purpose of enslaving souls. Our fire soul consciousness is what we use to create in this or any other universe. The creation process is then registered in the spirit and in the divine feminine. When we are trapped here in the 4% physical universe, we have very little connection with our higher self because of electronic obstacles that are being created as barriers between soul and spirit. It is when we are first leaving this trap that we unite with the Oversoul, and from there on we're always connected and very much aware of the connection. There is, where the soul is free, a constant communication between soul and spirit. We all will remain individuals creating our own realities with thought, but fully aware that we are all connected. Today, people who are waking up feel that their awareness and their consciousness has increased, and indeed they have. What happens is that the soul that is you in this reality is beginning to break down the amnesia barriers in your DNA and in your soul, and you vaguely remember your past in the real universe. The part of your existence as a soul that was not manipulated. You were living in a spiritual universe with a direct connection with the spirit and the divine feminine. In the extension, we also begin to connect with the spirit over soul, and this creates epiphanies, strange experiences, knowingness without any substance to it in this reality, intuition, telepathic abilities, ESP, psychic abilities in general, and much more. If you happen to experience any or all of the above, then you are, to that extent, reconnected to the real universe. So what exactly does that mean? It means that we are living in a time loop. We are living on a DVD track over and over again. At the end of a cycle, we're supposed to move on to the next. But the way the invaders did it was to not give us access to the continuing grid. We have access to this particular grid we are currently experiencing from beginning to end and all the grids before that, but none of those which are supposed to follow after that. While optimally, if we weren't under the control of this oppressive star race, we would have reached the stars ages ago. I'm not even sure how many times we have re-experienced the same energy grid. This is also where the recycling of souls and amnesia implants come into play. They don't want us to realize we live in the same thing over and over again, because then we may get the idea that we want to break loose. At the end of each cycle, a certain amount of people have woken up to the fact that they are trapped and decide to do something about it. These are the ones who move on to higher dimensions, or densities as it's often called in metaphysics. Those who are still asleep will continue living the same time loop until it's their turn to wake up. Some seem to think that the time loop that we're stuck in is actually the second last of the energy grids, but we keep it in existence with our own mass consciousness, because when we agree to living in the invader system and are obeying their twisted laws, that we do nothing but enhance the power of the rich to the expense of the masses. We also agree to being implanted with amnesia and recycled, and thus we keep the whole time loop alive and well. If we break the curse, the next cycle will take us to the stars. What they are talking about is the part of the DNA which is the original humans, the multi-dimensional part, which is our true selves. Soon enough, humanity is going to be able to explore the stars, the universe, and all of its dimensions and densities for the very first time. However, for some souls who got stuck here after Enki created the first manipulated humans, there are other aspects of self, of the oversoul, who are already multidimensional and always have been. But these aspects of self have been out of reach, for the most part, due to the energy trap of the invaders created in the distant past. Humanity is rattling their chains, and the chains are rusty and just about to break. Then we are free, but only if we choose to. By capturing us, modifying us, and keeping us ignorant, those who took us under their wings and let no other have us could then start sucking our life energy out until very little was left and substituted with other kinds of energies belonging to the 4% universe. However, this lesser energy is not sustaining us very much longer, because it's not how we were made to be, and we don't absorb it as well as beings who were created to be here. This is another reason the invaders want to create the machine world with half humans, half cyborgs, and less soul energy. It's quite obvious that we are living out the Atlantean karma in present time. When it was decided upon that America was going to become the new Atlantis, and the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians arrived here in the late 1400s, the stage was set. This is where people who had any major connection with Atlantis were going to live out their karma and hopefully resolve it. We can see how old magicians from that time are now coming back, the same people, another time, but somewhat familiar. The technology we have now is different but still similar. Overall, we are reliving that epoch once again. We know Atlantis was destroyed, much due to the misuse of energy. And now we stand in front of the same fork in the road. Last time we chose destruction. So what are we going to choose this time? There is certain information we all need in order to grasp what kind of reality we are living in. Once that is fairly well understood, you will have the opportunity to exit this reality and return to the universe in which you belong. It's time to go home. You are the glitch in the matrix. Not all who wander are lost, beloved. And more than anything, always remember who the fuck you are.